Hey everybody, welcome to Leon's Chainsaw Parts and Repair. We are looking today at a Super XL from Mark in Maryland. He and I started talking, oh geez, I think it was way back in March. And he had this saw, and he was trying to work on it. It's got a disconnected connecting rod for whatever reason. And the way we knew that was looking through the port here. The piston doesn't move, the crank does turn, and the rod has since moved from the first time I looked at it, which is no big surprise. And it's not doing anything at this point. The crank's just spinning over. So we're getting it apart to see what's going on. I've already got a lot of screws loose to keep the video from becoming an extraordinarily long one, but still got a few things to pull apart here. What I was just doing there was getting the cylinder gasket loose from the airbox. It's a one-piece design, and usually you can reuse that. It depends on the color of the gasket. The black ones are far more likely to tear. They're a different material than the original kind of brownish red ones. But this one is black, so we'll see how well that holds up. I'm realizing there's still some fuel in this thing, so that might make this interesting. But anyway, to get a cylinder off of one of these things, you got to go all the way down with it. You got to get the airbox off, the ignition, which obviously I've already taken some of those screws out. Got to get the fuel tank off. This is a Terry-built saw, and for those of you that aren't home-light geeks like I am, or as much of a home-light geek anyway, if you're watching this video, you might be. Anyway, it's built in Canada. Let's see if we can get a good focus on that tag. Terry was the subsidiary in Canada that built the home-light saws. Looking at this, if I understand these serial numbers right from the Canadian saws, it's an 81 model, and yeah, they're kind of neat. The international models of home lights had safety features a lot earlier than the domestic ones, like chain brakes and hand guards and all that kind of jazz, so I find it fun to collect those. I got a special place in my collection for a good number of those. They even built chain brakes for these Super XLs and XL12s. I've been lucky enough to find those, both models, and get them here. I don't know that they were ever sold in the States that way. These cylinder nuts are a pain in the butt on the drive case side, just because of the way everything's shaped. Sometimes you can get them to spin by hand, other times you got to do this little ridiculous 1/4-8 turn, whatever it is. But there's worse, like a Super EZ. Won't even get started on how much I love working on those. Alright, now I don't know how well this is going to come apart because I can see that this piston is pretty roached. Get that spark plug out of there to relieve any possible compression suck that might still be left, which I don't expect it to be much, but we will see. God, that's a terrible looking spark plug. Can't remember the last time I actually saw red. I don't know what it was burning, but it wasn't good. Now I'm not hitting this hard, and I'm being careful. I'm not hitting the cylinder fins. That's a muffler boss. Oh geez, we got a multitude of issues going on here. Yeah, alright. And there she is, grenaded connecting rod. There's part of the bearing cap. Wow, Okay. There's another first for me. And a petrified beetle. That's what we want to find inside a chainsaw, right? Okay, so Mark, I have bad news. This cylinder and piston are completely done. I'm not surprised by that, but it is so seized in the bore. I don't think I can get it out to show folks how bad this damn thing looks. I just have to look at it through the piston, this muffler port here. But give me a second. See how tight it is. Oh no, that's not coming out. Alright, so what we had happen here, for whatever reason the connecting rod grenaded. I see the head of, see how well we can get some focus here. Okay, the head of that screw is sheared off. The other half of the bearing cap is still together. So it's hard to say if that head sheared and that's what caused this whole thing to explode. I'm kind of leaning towards that. So all the little bearings, there's 31 that make up the rod bearing. There's 31 of these little needles. All of those were loose in there, and what happened is on an intake stroke, it sucked at least one, maybe two of those needles into these ports here, and it's jammed up. I mean, that whole thing is grooved. We'll see if we get a good focus, which of course not. Lighting is not the best here. How's that? There we go. That bad boy is done, I'm afraid. So, other issues that I can see here. These screws are out, so we should be able to get this apart. The rest of the gunk came out. On first inspection, that side crankcase bearing doesn't look bad. Have to be cleaned up. Oh boy. It actually embedded the screw head in the crankcase. Right there, you can see that. That's the top of that rod bearing screw. There's debris all over in here, and this is scored up pretty bad. I can probably clean this crankcase if we decide to go ahead with this and be able to use it. The rest of this looks okay. The bearing is fairly quiet. I don't see, yeah I do. Looks like the journal of the crank was damaged when that came apart, so we'd be talking a crankshaft too. I don't know, Mark. I'll get this video posted so you can see it, and we'll talk and decide what you'd like to do moving forward.